In this special analysis, we're diving straight into a truly fascinating cultural mystery. I mean, have you ever noticed how Japanese children remain so incredibly calm in public spaces? It's wild. Well, we're so used to seeing kids fussing, crying, or, completely melting down over the absolute smallest things. In Japan, this is surprisingly rare. It almost looks like an illusion, right? But I promise you, it's not magic.
If you're a stressed parent watching this, and you constantly feel like you're walking on eggshells around your toddler, just take a deep breath, okay? This calmness you see over there isn't about having some biologically perfect child. It's actually the result of 3 very specific, culturally proven daily habits that are designed to physically and mentally protect a child's nervous system. So today, we're going to act as your practical guide, unpacking exactly what these habits are and how you can use them to bring some much-needed peace to your own home.
Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to picture 2 very different scenes. On one side, you have a packed, tiring Tokyo train filled with commuters. And right there in the middle of it all stands a small child, perfectly calm, just quietly watching the city roll by without a single complaint. Now contrast that with a scene we're probably all a bit too familiar with, a chaotic storm in your own kitchen. Suddenly there's a massive meltdown happening. The trigger? Well, the breakfast cereal is a slightly unacceptable shade of yellow, or maybe there's a microscopic, barely visible wrinkle in their sock. This massive contrast really begs the question, what is the fundamental difference in how we approach these moments? To figure that out, here is our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. Symptom versus root cause. 2. The power of routine. 3. Easing through transitions. 4. Embracing empty moments. And 5. Your 7-day challenge. Let's get right into it. Starting off with Section 1, Symptom versus root cause. To really wrap our heads around this cultural divide, we basically need to completely shift our mindset as parents. We have to go from frantically putting out fires to practicing actual fire prevention. Think about it. In a typical Western mindset, when a kid starts throwing a tantrum, our immediate instinct is usually, oh no, how do I stop this crying right now? We rely on timeouts, star charts, or maybe trying to distract them with a calming song. But here's the truth. By the time the screaming starts, the battle is already lost. You're just trying to put out a fire that's already blazing. The Japanese perspective, on the other hand, goes much deeper. They don't ask, how do we stop this? Instead, they ask, why is this little nervous system overloaded in the first place? Their entire focus is on preventing that spark from ever igniting. So the crucial point is this. Tantrums do not just happen out of nowhere. They're actually an external explosion of an exhausted nervous system. A child's system gets completely, utterly drained by hunger, constant loud noises, or continuous, unpredictable changes in their day. So, you know that meltdown over a wrinkled sock? Yeah, the sock was never the real problem. It was simply the final straw on top of a mountain of sensory exhaustion. That brings us to Section 2, the power of routine. And this brilliantly illustrates our first Japanese habit to prevent that exhaustion. It's a biological truth designed to really nurture and protect your child's delicate nervous system. We call it the quiet clock. In Japan, a child's day often runs with incredible predictability. We're talking the exact same wake-up time, eating breakfast at the same low table, having lunch, taking a bath, and hitting bedtime at the exact same hours every single day. Even the way they say goodbye, the specific words they use, the exact way of bowing and waving remains unchanged. Now, I know to us adults, this strict routine might sound, well, incredibly boring. We crave novelty, right? But for a small, developing brain, constant unpredictability keeps them in an exhausting alert mode. Predictability provides this deep, profound sense of safety. It literally saves their brain energy for playing and growing instead of constantly trying to figure out what happens next. Moving right along to Section 3, Easing Through Transitions. This brings us to the second habit, which is all about how we guide our kids through what we can honestly just call daily earthquakes. So what is a daily earthquake? Basically, it's any sudden shift in activity. It's when it's time to leave the park, when the TV needs to be turned off, or when bath time is suddenly over. Usually, let's be real, we adults just announce, okay, put your shoes on quickly, we're leaving. But stop and think about the child for a second. They were completely immersed in their world of play. Yanking them out of that highly focused state without any warning delivers a massive mental shock. And that shock, that element of surprise, is the true underlying trigger for a tantrum. To soften these earthquakes, Japanese mothers use a very specific transition system. And notice, they don't yell from the kitchen. Instead, they actually walk over to the child, get right down to their eye level, and give a 5-minute gentle warning, then a 3-minute reminder, and finally, a 1-minute final warning. Now, this isn't about being overly permissive at all, it's just about biology. It gives the child's brain the necessary time to mentally wrap up their play and prepare for a brand new task.
When a change is expected rather than coming as a sudden shock, you can literally cut tantrums in half. Incredible, right?
Now for section 4, embracing empty moments.
We arrive now at the third, and honestly, perhaps the most surprising habit. It stands in direct contrast to our fast-paced, highly stimulated modern parenting style. I want you to think of a child's continuously active nervous system kind of like a muscle. If you overwork a muscle without resting it, what happens? It cramps. Well, for a child, a tantrum is essentially a nervous system cramp. In our modern world, their days are just packed with screens, flashy toys, apps, and constant adult voices telling them what to do. When their developing brains are constantly bombarded like this, they simply do not have the downtime to digest and process all that information. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this extremely simple number, 15. In modern culture, we might look at 15 minutes of doing absolutely nothing as, boredom or a complete waste of time. But in Japan, just 15 minutes of true emptiness a day is considered totally sacred. It is viewed as absolutely essential mental maintenance for a developing child.
So what does true emptiness actually mean in practice? It means a complete digital and mental pause. No tablets, no background music playing, and importantly, no parent trying to teach a life lesson or entertain the kid. It is profoundly simple. It literally just means sitting quietly together. Maybe you're looking out the window watching leaves move in the wind, or maybe the child is just quietly observing you fold clothes. It is in these tiny, quiet pockets of the day where silence works its absolute magic, allowing that overworked nervous system to finally release that cramp.
Finally, section 5, your 7-day challenge.
We've covered a whole lot of ground today, but as we all know, knowledge is only useful if we actually apply it. So let's look at how you can take immediate action in your own home. If you are feeling stressed and overwhelmed, I have a challenge for you. For the next 7 days, pick just one of these 3 root cause habits. Just one. You don't have to do all 3. Maybe you lock in a predictable, quiet clock routine for your mornings. Or maybe you commit to getting down to eye level and using those 5-3-1 transition warnings before leaving the park. Or perhaps you just carve out 15 minutes of true, device-free, empty time every afternoon. If you practice just one of these for a week, I promise you will start to feel a massive positive shift away from firefighting and toward true peace in your home.
I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. We now know that an exhausted, overstimulated nervous system is the actual root cause of the daily storms we face with our kids. So, if exhaustion creates storms, what miracles can stillness, routine, and a little bit of emptiness bring to your family? Try it out and see the difference for yourself. Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer, and we will catch you next time.